everybody, I'm Mike Dunn, and welcome to My Way Railway. You know, people get involved in this hobby for a lot of different reasons, and I've loved trains from the time I was 10 years old. I actually was paid $2 a day to run trains at a model shop when I was 10. My great-great-grandfather was the president of the Central Georgia Railroad, and I guess it's just been in my blood. But when I decided to build this layout, you know, people are driven by different things. Some love to build a particular roadbed or a geography in the United States. And in my case, what I wanted to do was create something that was true to railroading, but at the same time allowed me to express an artistic view of the things that we did and to help build something and find people to help me build it that were truly experts in their relative fields. So as you look right now, the steel mill was built by a fellow who had an incredible talent for aging metal. Coming over this way, you'll see the Central Georgia Roundhouse in Savannah that was built by a young man who graduated from the Savannah School of Art and Design. He secured the original drawings, architectural drawings for the roundhouse, and began building it. One of the challenges was, as you see there, the water tower, for which there are no models or anything else. Took the drawings and digitized them and actually 3D printed. So what we've tried to do is create vignettes, scenes that portray areas of the United States that my wife and I have lived, that we visited, and that we've enjoyed. Looking here at River Street in Savannah, Georgia, and as you study it, you'll find that it is very true to the buildings and to the setup of that street, even up to and including the back alley. It faces the Savannah River. We've taken a little bit of literary license and added the Port of Savannah across from that. From there, we moved to farmland, to train yards, and ultimately a small town that I'll describe later. You'll see the presence of power generation station here and the presence of high tension lines stretching across the river to town. I've been involved in the power industry for a number of years. It's been a wonderful industry to be a part of, and we wanted to be able to celebrate that involvement by adding a real presence to the layout from the power industry. So as you go through, there's one of the things that I've enjoyed about the design and construction of this layout, the attention to detail. From the apples behind the window at Ed's Market over in town, to the helicopter pad with spinning blades and rotors, to flash photographers, welders, and others that participate in the world of my railroad. Part of what we wanted to try and accomplish in this railroad was to develop areas that reflected where our family has lived over the years and the history of our family that's been involved in railroading. Starting up here, this is the DeBartoleben coal mine. This was one of the original coal mines in the state of Alabama, the coal mine that supplied all of the coal for the Savannah steamship lines and for the Central Georgia Railroad operating out of the southeast. We have a narrow gauge railroad that basically runs on a 4-minute circuit. It pulls out of the DeBartoleben coal mine, comes through the mountain, traverses this trestle, and heads to the Atlantic Steel Mill, where it offloads and then backs up through the same circuit back up to the coal mine for reloading. This is an area that kind of reflects some of our thinking around Colorado and the West. This trestle has over 1,000 pieces of timber that was used in its construction. And again, trying to be true to the history of how these things were developed, you'll actually see down here in the valley, there's a guttered sawmill. In the old days, when these kinds of trestles were built, one of the things they did is actually build a sawmill at that location to process the lumber and ultimately build the trestle. One of the great parts of what we've tried to accomplish with this layout is not just the roadbeds and the towns and so on, but we tried to create a mural that virtually encompasses the entire layout. And one of the challenges is that how do we make the mural look like it actually is an extension of the layout itself? And looking down the layout here, we have real farmland that transitions into the farm mural. And frankly, when people are here touring the layout, the thing they observe is you can't tell where one starts and the other begins. One of the things that we tried to do in addition to the visual effects was to try and add sound effect and things that mimicked our real world. This past year we added sounds of thunder. You're now visiting Old Town. Again, we've tried to put a number of vignettes in the town that just kind of add to the quality of the experience, but this one was interrupted by a bank robbery. You can see at the front of the bank, perp laying on the street and the flash photographer taking pictures of the incident. All of this occurring right across the street from Wicked Wanda's, a place where people might like to go at night to be entertained. Across the tracks is some traditional railroad housing. It's where the families would live that worked the railroad and worked the yards. One of the things I'd like to point out, they're having a birthday party, but throughout the layout there are 9 clowns. And one of the things that we do is we ask people who come here on a tour to find all 9, and if they do, they win a little prize. You know, once we got pretty well finished with the layout, as we looked up, there was really only one place to go in terms of adding things to the experience. We've got hang gliders, hot air balloons, the Goodyear blimp, all of them filling the sky and adding to the whole experience of our little world. As we look at the next section of the layout, this encompasses our apple orchard and farmland and small town farm and grain elevator. You know, one of the things that's my favorite in this whole thing is both the detail of the apples on the trees, the crop duster, which was hand built by a 90-year-old modeler who was just absolutely spectacular in the job that he did. And as we move through the farmland, where we end up is at the local lake movie theater or drive-in movie. You'll see by the marquee, it is Gone with the Wind. That would normally be playing on our drive-in movie theater. That particular screen was hand-built and hand-modeled. We found a display from a Chinese supplier and actually built the movie screen around it, connected it to an Apple TV, downloaded the movie, and that's how we got to where we are. So it's been a nice addition that we've had for some time. We also have a projection booth that if you saw from the other side, we actually show the flickering of the projector as it's projecting on the screen. As you can see, Ed's Market is the place everybody comes for fresh produce. And again, it's one of those points of attention to detail that people seem to enjoy. I know I do when I look at my layout and work with it. I want to thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope some of you found the 9 clowns, and I hope next year you can come and visit in person. Thanks very much for being here.